Hi, this is Shadi, and today it's gonna be Japanese Judo versus Mongolian Bokh wrestling. I've talked about the folk style wrestling of Mongolia multiple times on this channel, specifically in the Mongolian Judo video where I talk about how their grippings or their ancestral wrestling had its expression in Judo with the Mongolian judokas. And also I talked about the history and how far it dates back in another video. Talked about the different styles, the different rules, and the different clothing and garments. It does differ from region to region. So I figured this is a great comparison to make because they are both Asian grappling arts with garments, and also historically speaking the Mongols and the samurais have a lot of battles. Tsushima is one of them, being very famous. So this video is gonna go not just samurais and Mongols, but also their grappling arts, Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, and Mongolian Bokh. So this is something that should be compared when it comes to grippings, the rules, and just overall expression. So the first aspect that I want to go over is the body of structures and the rules. So when it comes to Judo, the rules are pretty much unanimous all throughout the world, with a bit of exceptions here and there, but it's mainly the ippon is everything. You do everything for that ippon. There's no point scoring, there's no stalling, etc. But it's mainly just the ippon, which you can get from nage waza, and if it doesn't go right, it results in a wazari. 2 wazaris is 1 ippon. So it's mainly why it's heavily oriented on the throw and the standing aspect in Olympic and IJF Judo. You also have kansetsu waza, or joint locking techniques, the arm locks, and also you have shimewaza, choking techniques, which will result in a tap and immediately ends the match via ippon. So you can get it from multiple ways, and the last one being the osaikomi or pinning techniques. The moment you get past your opponent's legs and control the upper body, or keep their torso on the ground, their back, they have to be on their backs, and they cannot escape. Like, even if they put up a shoulder or two and they cannot get from underneath you, away from underneath you, it is still technically counting. 20 seconds is ippon, 10 seconds is wazari, and it's not like wrestling where both shoulders should be on the ground. It's you have to escape your torso from underneath them. That's the only way to escape osaikomi. You also have the kozen rule set, which has become very popular very recently again, with the whole thing with BJJ. So you can only win by katame waza. So even if you throw one of the best throws, this would result in nothing. You can only win by ippon with joint locks and choking and pinning. Leg locks are banned in both, and also leg grabbing is banned in both unless it's initiated in newaza, which you can grab the legs and the pants as much as you want in Judo. Once both of the feet, or both of the knees, touch the ground, they are technically in newaza, and you can grab their pants and initiate an okuri erijime or whatever it may be. So there's also freestyle Judo, which is also very rare, like Kosen Judo. Kosen Judo is in the 7 imperial universities of Japan, while freestyle Judo is in the US and Australia, if I'm not mistaken. But 99% it is the IJF/Olympic rule set, being the core body of structure of Judo. But in the Mongolian Bokh, it is a bit different. It differs from region to region. For example, Inner Mongolia, any part different from the feet that touches the ground, it is instant defeat. There's no locks, there's no strangles, there's no pins. It is strictly throwing and upper body grip fighting. You have normal regular Mongolia, you can grab the legs. Inner Mongolia, you cannot grab the legs. The different jackets also, for example, in regular Mongolia you have the wool jackets and also the like tight trunks, almost like Indian wrestling. But in Inner Mongolia you have like the big baggy pants. Even the boots differ from region to region with the design, but you have different rules depending on the regions. There's also no weight categories like in judo. There's also no age limits, there's no time limits, and there's also no surface limits. For example, in judo you have the 10 by 10 square, in sumo you have the circle, the ring, but in Mongolia you just grapple out, and the zasul, or the referee, just moderates the match, the how they are going around, and there's no time limit. But it's understandable, since any part of your body touches the ground, it is an instant defeat, so matches tend to end quickly. In regular Mongolia, it's the upper body that has to touch the ground, the torso, but Inner Mongolia, it is any part besides the feet. The next one is incredibly important. It is the gripping system, since they are both relying on garments. In judo, the gi jacket covers a big part of the body, and it is very loose, so it provides with a tons of options, like deep down the back, a Russian arm, or a Georgian arm. You grab the belt, you grab the sleeves, you have the lapel under the armpits, many options. Some are limited in time, like the belt grip, the Russian arm, or the Georgian arm, you have to immediately strike. You also have like pistol grips, wrist grips, also very limited, you have to immediately attack. So, but nonetheless, it does offer you tons of options when it comes to gripping and how you play your kumikata, which resulted in many styles of play in grip fighting, like the Georgians, the Americans, the Russians, etc. That alone, so it has its advantages and disadvantages. The advantages being obviously the choices, the multiple of choices, and how you unbalance and use it as a lever. Being so loose, you can use it as a lever in order to pull and push and pull up your opponent, in order to unbalance them with kuzushi and put them down. So it is advantageous, but the disadvantages is that you become way too reliant on the gi when transitioning to other sports like no gi or MMA, or just self-defense in general. It does still work, trust me, but you still have like an adaptation phase of gripping, changing your grips with someone not wearing a gi in other sports. But nonetheless, the techniques, the leverage, etc., all of it works, obviously. When it comes to Mongolian Bokh wrestling, it is a bit different. The jacket covers a limited part of the body. For example, here you are seeing the Inner Mongolia jacket. It covers the back and the biceps, barely, not even the shoulders. So the grips, as you can see, the first one being up on the right, it looks like a sleeve, like a right versus left in judo, grabbing the collars, but rather if you see the drawing below it, it is putting its fingers in the sleeve, right below the shoulders. You also have like collar grips, and also overhooks grabbing underneath the armpit, because the edge of the jacket is there. You can put your fingers in it and proceed to try to throw. There is also belt grabs, underhooks, overhooks around the back, deep. You can sweep and do uchimatas and hip tosses. I actually got these drawings from @1000holds on Instagram. I found this account by mistake, by coincidence, and I saw one of my thumbnails and they were talking very positively of my channel, so I am very thankful. So @1000holds, they post a lot of Mongolian Bokh on their account. I suggest you go and follow them. It is a great account with great pictures. Even the picture on the thumbnail I'm using is from their account. So @1000holds on Instagram. So what's good and bad about this gripping system is that the good about it is that there's no adaptation phase. You're somewhere in the middle. So what I mean by that is that here you can see Kashbatar applying the Mongolian grips in judo, underhooks, overhooks, collar grips, overhooks with like a gripping the garments, underhooks gripping the garments, like the jacket. So it doesn't matter if it's an Inner Mongolian jacket or Mongolian jacket with the wool, which is a lot tighter, by the way. It does go to the wrist, but it is a lot tighter, as you saw in the highlights. But when it comes to transitioning to judo, it is fairly possible. There's garments, but also there's underhooks and overhooks. The other thing is that if you want to go into MMA or no-gi grappling, You can also do that because you are still employing underhooks, overhooks, around the back, like what you want to throw with hip tosses. So what I'm trying to say is that there's no adaptation phase. You can just go in and apply your system, apply your gripping, and just start with your grappling, if it's MMA, if it's no-gi, etc., or self-defense for that matter. But in judo, being a lot reliant on the gi, it can cause some problems. But you can still grab the shirt under the armpit, over grabbing the wrist and the collar on the shirt. Yes, it does not provide as much lever because the shirt is far less heavy than the gi, but nonetheless it does work. It's not going to be 100% the same. Or if you are trying to go into MMA as a judoka, you have to have like a adaptation phase where you let go of your gripping, especially standing, but on the ground you can do it no problem. Many judokas thrived in MMA, like Caro Parisian, Ronda Rousey, Kayla Harrison, and many others. So it is no problem, but nonetheless you just have to adapt a little bit your gripping, because in judo you tend to be very reliant on the gi. But in Mongolian Bokh, since the surface is a bit limited, like covering the back, the biceps and triceps, and the sleeves go to the wrist, depending on the region, the gripping is limited, but you can still employ garment gripping and overhooks and underhooks. So you are somewhere in the middle. So I find that highly advantageous. But the disadvantages is that there's no strangling, there's no pinning, and there's no joint locks. But both still are incredible martial arts to practice, and it does work historically speaking. You can see the three pillars of being strong as a Mongolian. It's archery, horsemanship or horseback riding, and wrestling. So it does work. Obviously you don't need submissions and strangles. Like, that's like saying freestyle wrestling or Greco-Roman wrestling doesn't work. That's obviously false. But in terms of having an arsenal of techniques, it tends to be a bit reduced compared to judo, with a lot of throws, choking, and joint locks and the pins. So, but nonetheless, they are both great arts. So if you have anything else to add, please let me know down below. This was Shadi, and thank you for listening.